What's going on, moviegoers all over the world? My name is Ryan D, aka Ryan680.
I'm Angela, that cat lady.
And I'm steady with the countdown to the Geekcast. I just can't get enough of this place, man.
I know, right? I mean, we literally switch up schedules for you. I had to change my shift at work just to get you here. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Hey, he's getting a newborn. It's awesome. Congratulations, by the way, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Been busy.
Obviously. Hey. Alrighty, man. So this is our Game of Thrones review, guys. Episode 5, The Bells. Now, I guess we can start off with the title since we're already talking about that title. Do you agree with this title, man?
Yeah, it kind of is the biggest turning point in the entire show, so I don't mind the title at all.
Yeah, spoilers, by the way. I'm sorry. Spoilers alert.
Oops.
I don't know. This title was kind of weak, I would say, in all respect, towards the whole season and everything. I feel like this is the weakest title because, I mean, it just I didn't like the way the episode progressed. I mean, we'll go more in depth on it, but yeah. But I don't agree with this title whatsoever. It should have been like Barbecue King's Landing or something something of that nature, ladies and gentlemen.
I can agree with the title. I can see why they chose it because you said it is the turning point. It means something. Those bells mean something. Yeah. As much as I didn't like the title, I would have liked to see it differently, but I wouldn't know what else to name it. I wouldn't name it Barbecue.
No, I know. I was just joking. Yeah, I'll probably call it, I don't know, Queen of the Ashes, but then I'll probably just give it away a little bit.
There you go.
But then again, they don't release it until that night anyway, so they probably would have made do.
It would have made, if they would have done that, I would have been cool with it as well. So
all right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get right to. I mean, this is the first scene, ladies and gentlemen. We do get so much betrayal. I mean, so much treason. From Varys, and man, what the heck? Like, I really didn't see this coming from him. I mean, Varys? Varys. Like, I'm sorry. What did I say? Varys?
Oh, I don't know.
Varys. Oh, okay. but from Varys, yeah. So, I mean, I really didn't see this coming at all. Like, I felt like he was unconclusive. Like, he really didn't make up his mind. But, I mean, just to see this obviously, Dany, she just got done losing her other dragon.
And Miss Sunday.
And Miss Sunday.
Jorah.
And Jorah. I mean, the people that kept her insanity.
Kept her grounded.
Yeah, kept her grounded and helped her realize the sense that she has, they're gone. And, just to see that she's mourning, she hasn't eaten. I don't believe she's ate yet because we do get that verse, that very first scene where the child.
He did say that for a few days. Yeah, she hadn't eaten anything.
She hadn't eaten, so I mean, she's really making her. They're mourning the death. Grey Worm too. I mean, just I can only imagine what they're going through. But
to me, it's not surprising because he's always been outright like, I am serving the realm. I don't serve a king or queen. I'm serving the realm. And we see him even, I think the last season when they're preparing to march onto King's Landing, he's like, I think you're making a mistake. Like, I told you from the get-go, I would not lie to your face. I would try and counsel you. I think you're going to make a mistake with this attack. But
he did lie to her face. He ended up doing exactly what he said he wouldn't do. A lot of people are saying exactly what they wouldn't do, are doing exactly the same, exactly the opposite.
How do you feel about her statement of when Tyrion tells her there is a traitor among them? She immediately says it's Jon Snow. How do you feel about that?
Well, she's not wrong either because she had sworn him to make sure that none of this information would get out.
Yes,
so
she did.
If the information gets out, there's only one person that would have done it.
Yeah, and Jon Snow's too honest at that. We learned that from the previous 2 episodes behind that. So it just, but at the same time, though, I mean,
is that something she should have asked him to keep?
It's some, she told him straight up, and we could go back to our last review, 2 reviews back, and it was pretty much like, this is exactly how to make our lives easier. I've told you how. She said it straight up, and she was very hard-headed about that.
She's very serious about it.
Serious about that. And
little glimpse into the future with her.
And of course we do, Sansa, I feel like Sansa, she planted that in Tyrion, and Tyrion, it just went into weeds just start coming out of nowhere.
Well, Sansa's smart. She knew Tyrion would tell at least Varys or tell somebody about this. So she's
definitely
kind of getting that little finger-esque kind
she's
of
like
tactic.
Littlefinger and Cersei at the same time, I feel like, because she's learned from both of them. I mean, from being a teenage to being a little girl, to be a teenager to be a grown woman. I mean, we've seen her so much progress her character, and I feel like she is the Littlefinger in this realm now. Now Littlefinger's gone. But I
agree. And then go back to Varys. That's the conviction this guy has.
Yeah.
Like, he's willing to bet his life on
Yeah.
the decisions that he's making, and let's kind of face it, like, he wasn't wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So he was willing to die for what he knew to be true.
Well, he even said,
just this entire episode proved him right.
Yeah. So and then we go into the next scene, ladies and gentlemen, where he's being accused. Grey Worm grabs him, puts him right in the middle of this dark circle, and all you see is Jon Snow and Dany just facing it, and Dany's just. She's full of hatred, and she's just full.
I think it's more like anger.
It's insanity. Like you see it though already in her. You see it already in her. That very beginning episode when the camera angle is facing towards Jon Snow and Dany, and then of course the dragon does come out and burns him alive. I mean that dude.
Oh, yeah.
I mean you got to remember this is what the Mad King did. And this is what she swore not to do, to start burning her own council. And she did. She already started to. And man, I mean, at the same time though, I feel like she's lost the trust of Tyrion too. Like I feel like she doesn't trust Tyrion.
Heck no.
Yeah, like it's just everything.
But even then, she gives him that like one ultimatum of like, you mess up again, and that's gonna be your last time messing up.
I feel like she already stopped listening to him in general, like for his counsel, for his advice. I mean, yeah, I just feel like it's already happened already, and she doesn't trust him anymore.
It feels like every episode he's apologizing for something. He's like,
yeah.
My bad, again. Yeah. But I tried my best, so I won't do it again. And then he does it again.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's hard to hear him just complaining, or not complaining, but apologizing every episode. It's just she feels alone, and it's evident later in this episode.
She does. She feels very alone, and it just, I mean, we see it progress. We see her with the way, even with her hair, we just see her whole character developed in the beginning of this episode, how she's in mourning. I mean, she doesn't want to deal with anything. Even at the same time, when she's intimate with Jon Snow, it's like Jon Snow doesn't want to be intimate with her because he feels that she's become something different.
I think, she's definitely his aunt, and that's never going to
go. Because I mean, you just saw them like starting to make out. I was like, what the heck? They're going to start making out. What the heck's going on?
Like, he's definitely, those feelings he had at the beginning of the season, they're not being reciprocated anymore. And so she feels like all these things are happening at the same time. She's losing the people she trusts. Her council is doing questionable things or betraying her. Jon Snow, she asked him to keep this information. He's betraying her, and he's not having that same emotion as like they're a couple, they're in love. Yeah. That's all taking a toll on her. And then her focus on, okay, I need to take King's Landing, I need to defeat Cersei. It's becoming more like, I guess, obsessive. Like she just needs to take the throne, and that all of that is weighing on her.
Oh yeah.
And you see that.
And then speaking of taking the throne, and speaking of Cersei, we do get Arya and the Hound. They're on a mission, ladies and gentlemen. They're on a mission to go fight, to go assassinate King's Landing. Of course, the Hound's on his own mission, of course, and we do get that showdown, which we'll talk about later in this episode. But so we do get Arya and the Hound, and then at the same time, though, going back to Dany and Tyrion scene, Dany does tell Tyrion like Jaime reached to the enemy lines, reached to their lines, and now they captured him, and so she already assumes that Jaime betrayed her. And even though he swore allegiance to her, to the Long Night during that fight, she feels like everyone's betraying her. And to see Jaime try to go back to King's Landing, and to see like where that he ends up becoming a prisoner, and Tyrion ends up freeing him and telling him, there's a way out of this. There's a way out, and you need to follow this. Give me your word. And Jaime does give him his word by saying, get my sister, get out of there. And so I mean, it's just so much mixed emotion, so much preparation for this. I mean, this is the major battle that that the whole series battle that this world has been waiting for, this realm has been waiting for. Yeah. And
I hope that doesn't come back to kind of bite Tyrion in the ass, because he's probably already not having really warm feelings for Dany at this point. But if she ever comes to find out that he released Jaime,
treason. Yeah, it's treason.
Then
he said it.
That could be really bad. But hopefully they just find out that Jaime and Cersei are at the bottom of like a pile of rocks right now.
Right.
Maybe it won't be a big deal after all.
Yeah. And then of course we get Tyrion and Jon Snow. Tyrion reports pretty much tells Jon Snow and all them like she wants to fight now.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, he's like, we'll fight at dawn. Like, it's already becoming that demanding of a queen. And she's all like, I don't want to wait. I want to start fighting already.
It's pressure. She's feeling that pressure of, I need to take it now. But I think Tyrion's like, if we take it now, it doesn't give people a chance to surrender. I think he's not necessarily thinking about betraying his queen. He just wants to save as many people. Like, that's how that was her initial intention of, I want to save people from tyrants.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think he's trying to keep to that because of his morals. Like, I think he's morally ethical.
And they do talk about this, though. They do talk about going back to the scene of Tyrion and Dany. They do go back and talk about, like, if the bells are ringing, don't kill the innocents. Don't kill the people. It's not the people's fault, you know. Like, they're just there. They just live there, you know.
They follow Cersei
because she's the queen.
They fear her.
Yeah,
they fear her.
That too. They fear the mountain will come and get them. But man, you know, we get this the standoff, of course, between the Golden Army,
the Golden Company,
Company. Why do I keep
Golden
saying
Company.
Compass? I keep thinking Compass. I don't know why. It's probably someone from another.
It's a movie, right?
It's a movie, and then the Golden Army is another movie.
Okay, all right. So, so the Golden what?
The Golden Company.
Golden Company. All right.
There you go.
So the Golden Company, we do get that standoff, and man, you know, a lot of things. So go ahead and mention this battle scene, man. What did you think of this battle scene? Because I'm gonna go ahead and go on a rant right after you.
Well, I just loved how it started because we saw kind of a lack of strategy maybe in Winterfell, or not a lack of strategy, but not like a well thought out plan. Like, I would have been way more conservative with my soldiers and troops, especially the Dothraki. So I love how this starts. It starts with Daenerys on Drogon flying sort of in line sight with the sun. That way Euron and his entire fleet have a lot less time to kind of get prepared for her attack. So it was just a lot smarter to do that, and I love that. And I was like, not annoyed, but I was just like, people were trying to like theorize, like, oh, she has more than one dragon, or other things. I'm like, no, you know, no, like, it's just she's just
the fans overanalyze everything.
As much as we would have loved to seen another dragon fly, it didn't happen.
No, people like I think we talked about this like really early on. Like, this show it stopped with theories, and it stopped with the lore and the myths and stuff. Like, you're getting way more creative than these people are ever going to get. And that's not to say that they're not creative, but they're trying to play this story a lot more straightforward than any of the fans anticipated. So I liked how it started, and I liked how she was being a lot more just the attack of Drogon and her. I like how they're taking out the ships, taking out all the other scorpions, and you've rendered the entire city defenseless once all those scorpions are done. I will say this though, you know, man, I have to go on a little like 3-minute rant. Your show ran away.
Oh man. Okay, so the long night. So the long night. I mean, we talked about it. The long night review was that one episode for the long nights. And we were talking about this at the same time though, when we were predicting, we're all like, oh, we didn't see the other Night King. We thought it was gonna go attack Cersei or pretty much we didn't think the main, like, this whole main battle was gonna happen at the very end, because I know we predicted different things, different situations, and different outcomes of this season. Now, with that being said, last episode Rhaegon, he gets killed like nothing, and it was a bit of a shock. The logic of this is so unrealistic. I mean, obviously it's not real, but it's unrealistic. This is the unrealistic season, I would say, when it comes to Game of Thrones, because I mean, you get the Iron Fleet strikes. I get it, Dany, them, they weren't prepared, they were just flying, cruising around. I'll give that the benefit of the doubt, but then we go into this next major battle scene where now, instead of 2 targets, it's 1.
It's one very fast moving target though.
Okay, but he's bigger.
And he said
he's bigger.
The sun was at an angle where it was like, if you look up, it's kind of blinding.
How many scorpions were there? How many of those things were? I mean, come on, let's be honest. If everyone was firing at the round,
these are not just little handheld crossbows. It takes 3 to 5 people to move them.
I'll give them that too, because at the same time though, I'll give this too as well, that I did notice in this scene, was that Dany, when she was coming up to the castle, she went down, because it takes them a lot longer to push them down, and then like it took that logic was okay, that made sense. All right, But again, this goes behind the scenes again, just behind the scenes when it comes to the writers and everything. I really wanted this battle to be more than one episode. I mean, this is the series battle. This is what the whole realm and series has been up to. And to put it in one episode, I feel like it doesn't even live up to. I mean, it wasn't even a full episode. It was like what? I would say like preparation was what, like the first 25 minutes, I would say, or 20 minutes?
Probably. The last was like 40 minutes. Was probably
40 minutes was the rest of the battle.
The massacre, not
the
battle.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The barbecue. You
call it the barbecue. Yeah, the barbecue. Yeah.
That's a shame.
So
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we want a lot of things, but the long night took 2 months to film, and that doesn't include that's filming. That doesn't include special effects. That doesn't include editing. That doesn't include sound mixing. Or
even like designing the set or anything.
This set was built from scratch. Yeah. Everything that you saw was built from the ground up, and I love the behind the scenes that they actually put shipping containers.
Oh yeah,
they built a little wall of shipping containers to make sure nobody could see what they were doing to prevent leaks from getting out. But I mean, no other movie does this. If you want to light somebody on fire, they just throw in special effects to kind of show that. Whereas Game of Thrones, they're going to take the time to train 20 people to stand fire, and they're going to do it and that's going to take a day. You know,
they got like 20 fire extinguishers on point. They got it ready to go.
Plus extras.
Yeah.
I can't fault them for like the amount of effort it takes to kind of just put on this one episode. Takes months.
Yes, I'll give them that when it comes to all the special effects, because I mean they're on point. I mean, when it comes down to it, especially for a TV show, for a TV show to have this amazing special effects and everything. Oh yeah, spot on.
You could pay special effects companies to like throw in explosions, but this show doesn't do that.
Yeah, no.
This show makes all their explosions on a green screen soundstage, and then they all put layers and layers for the actual final product. Yeah. You know.
So you know the whole battle scene and everything. I mean, just it goes. We'll talk about it more in the end of this episode. But So going into the battle scene. I mean, just everything was just pretty massacred. But let's go to where Tyrion is facing. The bells are ringing. Let's go skim through, and Jon Snow, Grey Worm, they're all right there waiting, and they're just staring down at the Lannister army, at the Red Cape army, and just.
I was really loving the tension.
Okay, yeah.
I was loving the tension, and I'm sitting there yelling at the Cersei's army, like, drop your swords. Drop your swords.
Yeah, that's exactly
you don't want none of this.
Yeah, you don't want it. Drop your swords. There's a dragon literally right behind y'all. Like, what are y'all doing?
I was like, don't be stupid. Drop your swords. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure everybody was. I'm sure every fan was out there saying the exact same thing I was. And so for them to drop their swords and for the rest of the episode to turn out like it did, it takes everybody, whether you like the episode or not, from one side of the spectrum, like of pure joy and happiness and all that, to another. And that was the goal of the show.
And see, the bells are ringing.
Yeah.
And to see that and to see where, just the anticipation's killing everybody. I'm pretty sure everyone was off their seat. I mean, and
there was a split second we just didn't know what was going to happen. Like, we were all like, okay, it's finally done. But you kind of realize the time, you're like, okay, what else can go? What else can happen? What's going to happen? And then
freaking Dany takes off and she starts the massacre.
Yeah.
She starts it and she just has any hesitance. She's looking, she's staring at the King's Landing. She's staring at the, this is the city or the throne. This is where my family started, and they took it away. And she took it so personal, and that it was anger. It was just, she was all like, "I lost my humanity. I'm just gonna."
It wasn't just Cersei that needed to pay in that moment. I guess she felt the rest of the kingdom needed to be. There needed to be blood.
And even Tyrion, when he saw the people get barbecued. That was crazy. That was insane.
So what do you think was going through the minds of Jon Snow?
But it was a chain reaction. So right after that, we get freaking Grey Worm holding his anger in, just holding it the whole freaking time. You just see him with he's making facial recognition. He's just holding it. You can just see the whole time, like, I wanna fire. Then that's when Dany throws the fire. That's when he starts throwing his spear, and then he freaking takes him out. And the next thing you know, even though they surrendered, is this right?
I don't think anyone from the north I think Tyrion and Jon were the only ones that were questioning the morality of what was going on.
The humanity, like I mean, they literally gave up. Why are they attacking them?
Not just the army, but the women and children and the civilians.
And then that's when it came to a massacre. They were killing women, children. And even Jon Snow, going further into this battle sequence, we find Jon Snow, and he's actually killing his own man because it looks like his own man was about to rape that woman.
Yep.
It looked like he was about to either rape her or kill her or torture her. And to come to that fact though, like it didn't make any sense to me because I was just like, you know, but at the same time, it's just like you have to understand the situation. Everyone has adrenaline. Everyone's like on really hard adrenaline. They're just like, if Dany's being chaotic, we all have to be chaotic too, and just it's all free for all. You know, it's become insanity. There.
Also, part of it is a lot of these were Northerners, and they never really particularly liked the South or the
it could be
King's
just
Landing,
letting go of that grudge. It could be that too as well.
Remember the North? I mean, the King's Landing or people that led King's Landing have murdered Northerners at weddings before. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's just been a lot of feuds and bad blood throughout years of the show has been around. It's interesting that Dany has a lot of parallels to Cersei. Cersei lost kids in previous seasons, and we've seen her do some pretty messed up things as a result of like just that mourning and that grief that she has and that hatred that kind of builds up.
Yeah.
And so it you know, it's kind of just because Dany has been our hero or hero for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I kind of see it as The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead was a show where like, yeah, you're rooting for Rick and his team and all that and his friends. You're always rooting for them. But what the show has always been built around is if you're not this surviving group, if you're another surviving group and you are witnessing Rick and his group from a distance, well, how morally correct are they? You know, and that's what I kind of see with this is that the fans have loved Dany because she's been through some rough times. Yeah. She's also done some questionable things, but it didn't matter to us because she's always been Dany to us.
She's always been the right one. Everyone's always thought that she was going to do the right thing, and she even said it, I'm there to free the people, so many times. Yeah. And to see the outcome of this, it's just been so brutal, man. I mean, just everything. I mean, you just see that battle sequence. You see the barbecue people. Like it's ruthless. It's vengeance. It's anger. It's despair. It's mourning. All those actions into one.
How do you think Jon Snow is feeling in that sequence, witnessing not only Dany doing this, the woman he loves, but witnessing his own men?
Jon Snow stopped. He tried stopping them, and then he really did. And because Jon Snow at that very moment, the writers have even said it, like he doesn't. Fighting is his last resort. Like he doesn't want to fight. Like he even said it right before he took over Winterfell. I'm tired of fighting. I died already on the Night's Watch. I'm tired of fighting. And yet he still fights even more, like so much more. He still fights, and I'm pretty sure he's already like, I'm done. Like I'm done fighting. This is it. I don't want the throne. I just want to be me, just on my own.
But seeing Dany and what she's become, and obviously she has one, so she can take the throne. Yeah.
Talk about the love of this now. What are you gonna ask her? Does he love her the same anymore?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know.
How can he may love her like Jaime loves Cersei, even though she's done all of this, what she's gone through. He's kind of fearing her a little bit in the past season. Yeah, he still loves her. I think Jon can still love Dany, but I think he's horribly appalled by what she's done.
He's definitely terrified by her right now.
Oh yeah, I would say that he's terrified of her, and especially of what she's become.
And now that she has a clear path to the throne, I think he's kind of questioning.
Throne? What throne? There's no throne.
Yeah, I know. She burnt. That's what I didn't make any sense.
You're ruining your castle.
Yeah. Like, why are you? Yeah, exactly.
Well, unless she just wants to rule the Westeros from Dragonstone, she could totally do that.
So then we do get we get a little side battle, a little one. No, I'm talking about the Jaime and Grey Worm.
Oh,
yeah. You're on.
Oh, you're. Wait, I'm sorry. Jaime and Grey Worm. Jaime and Greyjoy.
Greyjoy,
yeah, Greyjoy. That house of Grey. The last descendant of the Greyjoy house.
Well, you still have Yara.
Oh yeah, but the last male. We'll say that. The last male. You know, oh man, I didn't like that. I didn't like that scene.
I didn't need it, and I don't think anybody needed it. If Euron dies, getting burned by dragon
I think it would have been better like that.
People would just cheer, and then we would move on. I don't know what it actually adds to the show, and I also don't know. Well, no, I'm sorry. Euron definitely died at the end because he took a sword in the chest.
Yeah,
but I don't know why he needs to stab Jamie, because Jamie's not gonna make it out the end of this episode anyways. Yeah. So it does feel like it's all unnecessary.
Well, we don't know if you made it out or not.
Well, it does feel like it's just completely necessary. So it's one of the very few things I have not an issue with. I'm just like, it doesn't add to this story at all.
It didn't cut it. I would if we saw, because in that battle with the dragon is destroying the Iron Fleet, looks like he gets blown away. Yeah. So if it had just been ended there, I would have been fine and be like, he died.
Nobody's complaining about that at all.
And see, I'll go more in depth on that on the writing perspective, because I'll just go ahead and shed a little light on this one. So pretty much how the way the writers are doing it, and we've heard so much accusations and everything when it comes to the writers of Game of Thrones, because they have been announced last summer that they were doing the new Star Wars trilogy, and now that Game of Thrones is happening right now, a lot of people are blaming the writers because they feel like it's rushing the whole season, because then of course rumors started surfacing. HBO wanted 2 more seasons, and the writers were like, well, no, we can't, because we're going to be doing Star Wars. And again, HBO wanted to use the exact same writers because they kept them for so many seasons.
Because they did a good job.
They did a good job. They did a great job. And to see, a lot of people are against this season, the way it's progressed, and this is the lowest rated season on the critic side view, guys. The lowest rated season ever in Game of Thrones history. Not to say that's the lowest viewing, because they're breaking records like nonstop when it comes to viewing. I mean,
we're all still watching.
Yeah, obviously we're all still watching. And
dare you not to watch the finale.
But I feel like a lot of it has to do with hype. Everyone overhyped the season like crazy, because it was super marketed as this was it. No more Game of Thrones.
I wanted 2 or 3 episodes for each of the
It definitely should have been extended, but I think part of the problem is people were overhyping it. Like, I think they were just giving it, feeding. Like, there's a lot of movies. Like, Justice League was overhyped. That's why it didn't live up to the expectation. I think people are feeling that.
That's another story, but
that's another story.
What does it fix it? Because with more episodes, like, you could have took The Long Night, which was just 80 minutes, 82 minutes, right? That's 2 episodes in a season 4.
Okay,
so if you break up into 2 episodes, does it actually change it at all?
Yeah, like
I think fans are forgetting about that.
Yeah, but besides the runtime, I feel like it needed to be 2 episodes. It needed to end. It didn't. This season, I mean, I'll be honest, and this, of course, personal opinion on this, but this season hasn't been the true Game of Thrones formula. It really hasn't. Last season, I mean, every single episode has left us like either. I mean, we could name nonstop episodes where it leaves us like, oh, you're really gonna end like that? Like, are you really gonna end like that? Like, just especially when
it's not that much of a shock factor ending.
It's not, and when it comes to each episode, it's not of a shock factor anymore. And this with the writers and everything, I feel like they're just closing out everything. They're just like, okay, we need to close out this whole story. Even though the creator himself of the books, he hasn't finished his books, he had published them yet, but they did. There is rumor that he did share with the writers of HBO what his ending is, so that way he could I guess synchronize, to a certain extent. He's
gonna have way more characters involved in his stories anyways.
Oh yeah. So with that being said and everything, with the writers, it's just I really wanted it to do the same formula it's been, and I just feel like with this season it really hasn't. I just feel like they're trying to not necessarily rush it, because they did plan to do 6 episodes. But I feel like they should have done more. I feel like it should have been a lot more. It should have been at least 8 or 9 or 10 maybe, and that way progress the episode. And there's so many times I'm just like, maybe you could have ended the episode when they dropped the swords, and then just leave it like that, and then get us right into the action of the next episode. And then add more footage, of course, to complete that to complete those 2 episodes, to keep it going, and just like, I mean, this is the realm battle, and I just feel like it should have been at least 2 episodes.
It's perplexing is actually what it is, because on one hand, I wanted this show. I don't feel like it's meeting its potential. The sky was the limit on how they wanted to end it. They could have run with every single prophecy that ever came out in the books and all that, and kind of made sure that they covered all of those, dotted their I's and crossed their T's in that regards with all the prophecies and the lore and the myths and all that. They didn't. And that's because a lot of the prophecies haven't come out in the show. And so a lot of fans of the books, a lot of fans of the source material had a lot of ideas and theories and things like that. But we talked about it like early on in the season when I was here. Like they're going to go for a straightforward story. So don't think about myths. Don't think about legends. Don't think about prophecies. The Night King was killed by Arya. Go find me a prophecy where it says the Night King was going to be killed by an 18-year-old girl with a, Valyrian dagger. Like, no one thought that was going to happen. Whether or not you liked it or not doesn't matter. Yeah. But there was no prophecy to say that was going to happen. So,
but granted, they did plan that though from like previous, like I think they said like 2 or 3 seasons ago. So
if you're talking about Melisandre telling her you're going to kill people with blue eyes, and that's Melisandre. Right. But Melisandre's been talking about Azor Ahai for seasons, and that clearly isn't Arya. Yeah. So I just think, if you start letting go of prophecies, then the story and the rest of the show is going to be a lot less impactful on kind of what your expectations were. Yeah. Not to say that you should lower your expectations, but I'm forcing myself to kind of witness the show for what it is. And like Dany turning is what everybody has a problem with, because they say it wasn't earned or that there wasn't enough evidence to show us this. But Varys has been talking about her doing this for a while. Tyrion's been telling her, you shouldn't be the Queen of Ashes for seasons now. Sansa and Arya are saying to Jon, we don't trust her. We just don't trust her. You're not going to convince us. And we're looking at Sansa and Arya like, why wouldn't you trust her? You don't have any reason to. Everybody's coming out right. The only person that's wrong here is Jon and maybe somewhat Tyrion, but Tyrion was afraid this would happen. Yeah. Tyrion was afraid. He actually told us that he is afraid of her. Sansa questioned him and said, you're afraid of her. And he says, well, all leaders, put a little bit of fear in their followers. So I like how big the turn is. Yeah. Whether or not people like it is definitely their own opinion, and we can't change that and all. But if I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, the Lannister army needs to drop their swords. Please drop your swords. And they dropped it. And then as soon as the camera's on Dany, I'm like, you know what would be great is if she still killed everybody, even though they surrendered. That would be compelling. And it's not to say that makes it great or perfect, but that's compelling. Yeah. It's a compelling story. Yeah. Whenever I watch this show or another show, I'm like, what would be the most interesting thing? Yeah. And you guys love spoilers. I don't know why you love spoilers so much. Right. But if I told you before season 8 started, like, hey, by the way, Dany's going to make King's Landing surrender, and she's going to kill them all anyways. Yeah. I mean, what would your thoughts have been? You'd have been like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. At first. And so it's a difficult pill for people to swallow.
Yeah. Especially like beginning season 8, because she's so like she's still trying to be good. She's good. Yeah. So if you told me before season 8, I wouldn't have believed it. Danny would have been like this. I'd be like, no, come on, really? Tell me what. I would be like, what is your reasoning? Like, how do you know? Like, what leads up to it?
And not a theory though. If I would have said, I read the script, Dany's gonna make them surrender, and she's still gonna kill everybody anyways, you would have been like, wow, that's terrible, but that's really interesting. Yeah, like that's a compelling story.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to that logic, though, the way it progressed over this season of the very beginning of this season to the very end, of course, we're approaching that. We see it makes sense. The logic does make sense. Oh yeah,
and the breadcrumbs are there, and just the fans just don't want to believe it. Yeah, and I'm one of them. I'm like, no, everybody's just being paranoid. Even that was me. That was the same thing.
Yeah, even in the beginning of this episode,
he's like, I hope I'm wrong.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm dead wrong.
But he bet his life on it. Yep, and he was willing to,
and he was right
to set a coup, and he knew what the consequences were if he got caught. So Varys bet his life that Dany was going to do this eventually. Yeah. And it happened.
And they even said it too. There was another saying was if you toss whenever a Targaryen is born, the guy
toss a coin.
You toss a coin. There you go.
Let's see if it lands good or bad.
If it lands good or bad. Oh man,
Ooh,
yeah.
it's chilling.
Yeah, it's chilling. All right, so let's go back to Arya and the Hound. They're actually in the Red Cape, and at that moment, you know, I've always with the Hound, you know, it's just you never really see him have too many emotions unless it's Arya or Sansa, and to see that progressed. You know, the Hound's pretty much telling Arya, you know, like, you're gonna die if you stay here. You're gonna die here. Are you sure?
He shows her in his own way that he cares about her. He doesn't want him. He doesn't want her to have the same fate as him. He knows he's going in there, probably not gonna make it out. He does not want that for her. As much as she's focused on her mission, she's gonna kill Cersei. Cersei's on his list. Yeah. He's like, do you want to end up like me?
Yeah, like me.
Do you? And so she has to take a good look on at him, and he's like, I don't. She has to make a choice.
Yeah.
And I feel like what I liked more about that scene was, I think we were talking about it, she says his name at the end.
His real name.
His
real
first
name.
time
ever.
First time.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Which is so sentimental. It shows the relationship, and it shows how it's progressed. I mean, that was really phenomenal. I love that scene. I mean, just him.
That was a good goodbye.
Just her saying his real name was that was meaningful.
There was a lot of firsts. Her saying his name for the first time means a lot, because it's also sort of the first time that anybody in this place has ever kind of given him respect or cared for him.
Yeah.
Everyone's called him the Hound.
Yeah.
Everyone's called him Dog, like Joffrey would. But another first was before Varys died, Tyrion put his hand on Varys' arm.
Oh,
no one's ever touched Varys on this show, as far as I can remember.
Okay.
And so you see Varys' face freak out, because this is really his only friend, and unfortunately his friend is also the reason why he's dead.
His best friend.
Yep. And I love it how Tyrion even told him from the beginning. I mean, he told him straight up, like, I'm the one who told Dan.
I'm not gonna lie to your
I'm not gonna lie to your face. Yeah. So then we do go fasting forward. So we do get, ladies and gentlemen, we get the Hound.
Yes.
We get the Hound approaching Cersei.
I've been wanting this
mountain.
Season 1.
And I mean, just, you know, to see the Mountain actually finally portray Cersei, that's actually pretty good to see. I mean, for so long.
I don't want to say he betrayed her, but he definitely was like,
betrayed his maker.
This is the moment.
Yeah.
Nope, you can't tell me otherwise. Like, this is the moment.
Yeah. It's a betrayal, though, because he did kill Qyburn.
Yeah, he just kills him like nothing. Like boop.
That was great.
Dude, that was awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. I was just like,
I loved it.
Yeah, that was great. And then, of course, Cersei's just like, let me get out of here.
Awkwardly walks.
Yeah, that was kind of awkward.
Excuse me.
And then right before the battle sequences, the camera angle is up at a certain angle, and you just see the Hound looking and staring at the Mountain, and you just see the dragon throwing fire. Like, that scene is awesome. I love right before the battle starts between them, and we've been waiting for this showdown for so long, and to finally see it on camera, that was great. That was really the highlight of this episode, I would say. I mean, besides the barbecue King's Landing, I would really say this is the highlight of this episode.
I liked
because it's been anticipated for so long.
I liked how this scene was so intense. So even though the staircase is crumbling in certain parts, the dragons in the background, you still can't take your eyes away off of the Mountain and the Hound, because they're just it's about to go down. You don't want to miss any second of it. Oh man!
And then right when the Mountain puts his eyes on freaking the Hound, just like, oh my god, are you serious? Like,
just like he did with that one character,
Oberyn.
Oberyn.
There you go, Oberyn. Yeah, but see, and talking about the fight scene between the Hound and the Mountain, just everything. I mean, even their battle when they were fighting, the Hound said something to the Mountain. He's like, or he said something like, "You're ugly," or that's the way you look in, or that's the way you look on the inside, or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is
that's your true nature.
That's your true.
Something like
that's
that.
your true
this
look.
is how you've always been.
There you go. This is how you always been. Like, that was awesome. I was like, dang, fight talking. I love that. I love fight talking.
I loved how brutal it was, and I think I gave a Star Wars reference earlier. So here's my next one. It felt like Obi-Wan versus Anakin, because when they're on Mustafar and sort of the shields have fallen down. I'm getting real geeky now, sorry.
Yeah.
All the shields have fallen on Mustafar, which is a planet covered in lava. So now everything's falling apart around them because machines are starting to melt, walls are starting to melt, lava's like spewing all over everything. And so it's great to see everything kind of falling apart around them. And I don't know if this is if this is how they meant it to be, but the Hound is like an underdog, and the mountain is higher on the staircase. Yeah. So he is literally like, he looks like a mountain that he's trying to kind of come across. Perhaps. Yeah. But I loved how brutal it was, and I loved how, you're right, once Mountain starts eye gouging Rory McCann, he's been fantastic on the show. Yeah. That your heart sinks because you're like, oh no, not Oberyn Martell Part 2.
no.
But the fight ends poetically because the Mountain, this whole feud started because the Mountain pushed Sandor into fire, and now Sandor's pushing the Mountain into fire.
Yeah, and then really did symbolic. It really shows it like it just, I'm afraid of fire, but I'm gonna take you down with me this time, and just it really closes a chapter on their story, on both their stories, and to see it finally happen, that was really brutal.
That was a great death. Yeah, I was satisfied 100%. I was like, yes,
that was a good one. That was great.
That made up for this entire season.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was great. That was really good. That was the highlight of the episode, and then of course. We do get Arya trying to escape, and they did what they did a lot differently in this season that I would agree with too was the camera angles. How they showed us so many times, the writers have said it, even like if we show you extras and different characters, different characters not the main characters, but different extras that are there, you see them going through this, you don't feel as connected. So with this season, they thought with same thing in Winterfell when Arya was hiding in when the White Walkers, the library, that, and then also when she was trying to escape and all that. This what they wanted to do in this season was to follow a main character, and that was Arya. They were going to follow Arya, and I loved how they did in this episode too. We follow Arya where she's going through King's Landing. She's trying to get out of there, and she's trying to dodge all the fire and everything, all the brutality, all the
even she sees massacre. Like that massacre is even getting.
She's
to
even
her.
terrified.
Yeah,
she's terrified of it. Yeah, I'm just like, man, this is crazy because we've always seen her to be so strong and so like
collected
ever since the face, ever since she's left what was it, oh my gosh, Bravos, there you go. Yeah, ever since she left Bravos, and she's learned how to kill, how to be the no face man. But so I mean, I love that sequence. I love how they're showing us because I mean, we cared a lot more. I mean, I felt like I cared a lot more whenever we were following Arya, because we're just like, Arya, survive, like don't get hit, and then don't let anything fall on you.
Definitely had a couple close calls.
Yeah, oh, very. Dude, I mean, she was bleeding. She was all white, like from the from the buildings, from the castle, and just, I mean, that was crazy. And then at the very end, though, we'll talk about this at the very end. A lot of people are saying a lot of mixed things, and I will say this, I guess my personal opinion on it. I felt that Bran sent an Uber for Arya. I felt like this has to make sense because I don't know. It just Arya's staring at that horse for like the longest time, and it's like almost like she knows that like Bran sent me this or like something, or like to where, because pretty much she needed it. Was at the right moment at the right time. It really was.
I think it also had to do with like the dust is kind of settling, so like you don't see in that sequence at least a lot of people running for their lives and being burned to death, and that is the only living creature that's alive.
But the horse wasn't even like, it looked like it wasn't even in battle. It looks like it just came out of nowhere and just went towards her.
Oh, it had blood all over it.
Yeah.
Oh, it had blood all over it.
Blood, yeah. All right. I love the cinematography of this entire sequence with Arya, and I loved that she had been I'm gonna call her a death dealer, an assassin. she had been like the Lord of Death for many years. Yeah. And Sandor in an instant talked her out of that, and now she's sort of rescuing people for the first time. Yeah. I don't think she's really done that a lot. Yeah. And so for her to try and rescue people only to kind of see her attempts fail, I think it kind of set something off for her. So when I think she sees his horse, she sees his horse as an opportunity and as a chance and as a start of sort of either a new life or sort of a new mission for her. Mm-hmm. And when I see her ride off, I think there's only one thing going on in her head at the moment, is that Daenerys is going down now.
Yeah, no, I hear you there. I mean, just so much, anticipation for this episode. I mean, just, we could go nonstop of how action sequence this really was. And then, Jon Snow killing his own man. That's probably the last time we actually see Jon Snow, is when he kills his own man and tells the girl to go hide. And then I don't think we see him until of course, until this coming episode. Now, just we did see a sneak peek, of course, a trailer for the next episode, and it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. This is the last episode. It
but
really
also
doesn't.
that it just what's left.
What's left? Yeah, like you just see. I mean, first off, there's a lot more Dothraki than we thought. I'll say that. There's a lot more Dothraki.
They had half of them. Half of them survived.
Okay, it looks a lot more than I don't know. It looked a lot more of them in there.
Before the battle started, they said we have half of our Dothraki, we have half of our Unsullied. Yeah. So.
Okay, so it's half.
Even though it didn't seem like it, I agree, it didn't look like it, but that's what they gave us. So that's what we're going with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So and then going back, Dany, she's all like, "Let it be fear." Then like she said it, she's like, "I'll rule by fear."
And again, it felt like a Cersei moment because Cersei at one point told,
"What makes her any different?"
Lady Olenna, "I choose violence."
Yeah.
Or she told somebody that. Cersei said, "I choose violence," and that felt like a Cersei line,
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of parallels between these two ladies.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, just so the next episode we did see the sneak peek, and man, I don't know. It looks so. I guess I don't even know what to expect out of this. Just the outcome. I mean, just to see what's left. What do you do right after? I mean,
what would you like to see? What would you, as a person, as a fan, in your own opinion, what
okay,
would you like to see?
We talked about it. We talked about it right after. I believe Jon Snow's gonna cry and kill Dany. I believe he's gonna have to because he's gonna have to take the throne because of just how she's become and how they don't want a Mad King. They know exactly what happened when the Mad King ruled, and they all know it. And I mean, yeah, the Mad King killed his own family, and just to see that, I mean, just to see where you don't want history to repeat itself, but it looks like it might happen, and to see that too, I mean, just I have a theory like Jon Snow. I could be totally wrong. I'm probably totally wrong. Jon Snow is gonna kill Dany or be forced to take the throne because of Dany's arrogance. It's because she's angry and because of just her. So she's showing emotion right now. Emotional.
I like your idea. I want it to be a little bit more complex in the sense that I think Jon would like to have enough of I don't know if it's the guts to do that, but killing the woman you love, one of the only two that he says he loves, by the way, is a difficult thing. So I think he needs something more to kind of push him over the edge, and that's when I think Arya has to be involved somehow. So I think if Arya goes for Dany and Arya's life is in danger, I think that's the thing that's going to help Jon make his decision to kind of go after to Dany, but in order to save Arya. I don't think Dany makes it out of this season alive. Yeah, and I don't know if Jon makes it out of the season alive, but I don't think he cares.
Yeah, I don't think he. Yeah,
he's tired.
He's tired. I think he's ready to go on and leave this world again.
And I like to think of something for Bran to do because Bran is the three-eyed raven, and he's not done a lot this season.
Yeah, so to speak.
And just
I want him to do something interesting.
Do you want him to get up?
I don't want him to get up. I want him to kind of mean something more to this final season.
Maybe he does. Maybe he comes out of nowhere at the very end. You just never know. I mean, with this, like I said, this is the last episode. We really didn't see too much. We just saw, how the ashes, the aftermath, and that's pretty much it.
I think if we don't see Bran or Sansa, if that's it, if whatever we just saw them,
I think we'll see them again.
I would want to hope to see them. If the last time we saw them was the only time we saw them, I would be very disappointed. I especially Bran, because you know what he's gone through to become the Three-Eyed Raven. Now he is the Three-Eyed Raven, and for him to not really do much with that because he hasn't done much.
No,
I would be very disappointed.
So what do you think? You think Bran's gonna come in the last episode?
I hope I do see him the last episode. How he fits in, I'm not too sure how that would work out. I don't think Jon has the guts to kill
I mean,
to kill Dany. He could
just be crying and
but
screaming.
Not just that, but I think it's kind of like
I love you. I so love you.
I think it's a Jaime Cersei thing. Like Jaime, he loves Cersei. Now, all he's done.
Now let's answer that question. Do you think Jaime and Cersei survived?
Oh, not a chance.
If they did, I think only one of them. I don't think both of them. Sorry. If that is even a possibility, I don't think they both survived.
I hated how Cersei was just crying. I was like, oh, get out of here! You were just like, you were so like, oh my god, like shut up, stop playing the victim.
But people change in the face of death.
Playing the victim. That's right. Yeah.
She's all hormonal. She's pregnant.
Yeah. I mean,
she's facing defeat. Like she's not just facing defeat. She's realizing that she's not going to make it out.
She deserves that. It was her fault. I mean, she could have prevented all this.
If it was you holding one of your little cats down there, you're like, no, save the cat.
Whatever. Yeah, right. Like, take the cat. Take the cat. I was like,
I mean, one of your collector items. Save the Funko Pop. It's different when it's your life compared to one of your kids' lives, and you would kind of do anything for it. So, or your own child,
or the last child that maybe she'll ever have, because she did lose all her children. So,
and she's kind of up there in age at this point.
Oh yeah. So. All right, man. So I mean, we gave our original thoughts on this. I know we haven't done this previously, but let's go ahead and rate this episode. What are you gonna rate it? 1 out of 10, 10 being the highest.
Oh, that's so hard.
What are you gonna rate it, Ted?
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this. Now
that critics are rating this, because this is the second, I believe, the second lowest episode. Rated episode by official critics.
And like I said, I think a lot of that just has to do with expectations on how this is supposed to end, like the book, and I don't think you can put those two together.
Well, no, because the book's not even finished yet.
I know that. Well, that we are aware of. Yeah, we are aware of. Yeah. But I just think that people expect the book to tie up prophecies and loose ends, and it's supposed to, have a very similar ending to like the first Long Night, way back when, something like that. The show is not like that at all. I don't like the way Jaime and Cersei died. I would have preferred Cersei go out a different way. Yeah. I would have preferred, especially since they were foreshadowing Jaime killing her. I thought that was going to be that. Yeah. I love Clegane Bowl. I love Dany turning and everything that came after that. Varys, I thought would be a little bit smarter than to kind of be out in the open about about that twist. Yeah. I'd say a 7. Because of the things I don't like, kind of drop it down. But by far, it's one of the biggest, most expansive efforts, biggest productions ever in any episode of any TV show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So with all that, with everything that you mentioned, and just the logic of it, the way the story was told. To a sense, it probably would have made good on paper, but with everything that the way it unfolded, the way it was executed in just one episode, I'm still disagreeing on it just being one episode. But it is what it is. This is it. They put it in one episode. With everything that's happened, everything that's occurred in this past episode, the bells. I have to rate this episode 5. The bells. I'm gonna have to rate it a solid 6. I'm gonna rate it a 6. All right. Yeah. Angela?
I think I'm rated a 7 because I did have a couple things like that bothered me.
You're gonna say it 2.
Right? Yeah. No. I agree with you. The Cersei Jaime death. No. I really wanted her to go out a different way. I wanted Arya to kill her. I wanted Jon to kill someone. I wanted her to be executed.
Well, you never know. I mean, maybe we'll find out the next episode she's actually alive and they execute her.
I would have been fine with Euron killing her. I was just like, oh, Euron's gonna find out that's not really his baby.
I just wanted her to go out a different way. That's one of the main things I had a problem with. I loved the Dany turning scene. I loved the way the whole massacre played out, and Arya. I loved all of her. When we followed her throughout the city. So I think it'd be a solid 7.
Okay.
For me.
Could you imagine? I just thought of this right now. Could you imagine if Euron actually was in the tower with her, and he actually asks her like, "Why did Tyrion say? How does Tyrion know about your baby? Were you pregnant before I was with you?"
Oh. Yeah.
And then if she has to say, "Yeah, it's Jaime's. You thought it was yours. You're a fool."
Yeah.
If he kills Cersei at that moment. And then Jaime finds out later that he kills her. Yeah. The fight between them is completely different.
Completely different. It's pumped up.
And then I'm rooting for Jaime, and if he doesn't make it out, so be it. But I'm like, damn, that would have been pretty cool to see.
Jaime probably would have lost another hand.
I would have liked to have seen that more than the way they went out. And I'm sorry.
To see Jaime lose another hand?
No, I would have preferred to see like Euron kill Cersei because of that.
You take your pick. Anybody killing Cersei would have been just felt a little bit more satisfying.
Yeah, exactly.
All
right, guys. As always, I'm your host Ryan D. Ignore Ryan680.
I'm Angela, that cat lady Ange.
And I'm Steady, guest again from the Countdown to the
Geekcast. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, guys, be sure to subscribe to us, guys. Be sure to listen to us. If you don't have time to watch this because this is a long episode, we go in depth about it. Be sure to listen to it on the podcast as well, guys. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day, and we'll see you in another realm.